This story is seen and told from the perspective of the women. It is a description of their interior experience. And so it is a very quiet story. And it focuses on their perspective throughout the entire story. So it begins with their grief as they prepare to go out and anoint him. And as they discuss this on the way, who will roll away the stone for us from the door of the tomb? The kinds of questions that you ask when you're going to a grave after the death of a loved one. The surprise at the stone being rolled away and the young man in the tomb. The stone is clearly a major surprise because they thought that they were going to have to find someone who would roll the stone back. Clearly, they expected they would find someone, but they did not expect that the stone would already be rolled away. And the young man in the tomb is sitting at the right hand, the place of power, and is clothed in a white robe. It is a clear allusion to his identity as an angel, as a divine messenger. Though Mark does not say that he is an angel, as happens in other stories, Matthew and Luke. So they are alarmed. They are amazed at his presence. After his announcement to them, the focus is on their response. Terror, amazement, trembling, astonishment, fear. So this story and the telling of this story needs to convey as much as possible those emotions in a quiet and not highly demonstrative way. In terms of the telling of the story, the most important character is the young man. He is the one who has the only speeches in the story. And it is, I think, the voice of a young man speaking very quietly in a tomb to women who he knows are overwhelmed with grief. So the most important character in this story, in terms of the telling of it, is the young man. And so that's what you want to work on in the telling of this story, is the voice of the young man. Supremely confident, authoritative, clear, but also compassionate. The reversals of the story implicit in the resurrection are incredible. Shame into glory, fear into hope, grief into joy, death to life, defeat into victory. All those are reversals that are implicit in this. The ones that are identified, that are explicitly named or implied in the story are, first of all, crucifixion, resurrection. Jesus, who was crucified, raised. Shame, honor. Defeat, victory. Implicit in those two things. Probably the most important in terms of the impact of these words in their ancient context was shame, honor. The shame of crucifixion, the honor of the resurrection. The second is then presence and absence. Look at the place where they laid him, and he's not here. So the expectation of a corpse and the reality is he's gone. Where is he gone? Well, he's gone to Galilee. He is on the way to the place where they knew him, and there they will see him. So this is a sign of the transformation of grief into joy, of the loss of relationship into the reestablishment of presence of life. The commission to the women is utterly unprecedented in the entire narrative tradition of Israel. Never before have women been commissioned to take a message of divine intervention and to communicate that. The women are totally unprepared for this role, clearly. So the dimensions of their terror and astonishment are both about the resurrection, but it's also about their commission, about what it is now that they are to do, which is to go and tell. Their response to this news, to this revelation, is thoroughly appropriate to an epiphany on the one hand, and a commission to go and tell that has no precedent. So another dimension of the reversal that is present here is the joy and anticipation of their going and telling that then is reversed by their saying nothing to anyone. So there is, in the telling of the story then, the need to contrast this commission, go, tell, with what they do. Namely, they go out and they flee. Now, who was it that fled? Well, it was the young man at the arrest. It was all the disciples. They ran away. They fled. It's the same word as is used here. And what was implicit in that was that they were running away from the possibility of getting arrested, the possibility of being killed. Well, the same things are present here. Those who are in Mark's audience know that those who would tell this story in the context of the Roman world after the war, after the Jewish war that ended in 70 AD, those people are quite possibly going to be arrested and killed. That too is implicit in the story. And so the dynamic of the telling of this story then is to convey the range of emotions that is present here and all of the dynamics that are happening. It is all in the classic traditions of biblical narrative. This is classic biblical storytelling understatement, in which then the listeners can figure out what is going on because it's implied in these very few words.